Marital rape, a non-issue. First tonight on Our News Live at 7, a bishop lobbying the government to do away with plans to criminalize marital rape. And the prosecution rests after a man pleads guilty following two major busts, netting over $1 million worth of drugs. Continued criticism tonight over RCI's proposed Paradise Island project as more local environmentalists weigh in. And then on Our News at 7:30, in jeopardy, why taxi drivers say a diesel fuel shortage may put them out of business. Our News Live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. A prominent clergyman is speaking out again against the Davis administration's plan to criminalize marital rape. Bishop Walter Hanschel calling it a non-issue, saying government should put a stop to planned legislation. Joshua Williams gets us started tonight.
At last report, the proposed marital rape bill is still tied up in consultations, but Bahamas College of Bishops Chairman Bishop Walter S. Hanschel believes government should not criminalize marital rape and calls it a non-issue.
But this thing that is called marital rape, in my view, is a non-issue. I don't think that the government of the Bahamas should pass legislation to criminalize what happens between a man and his wife. I think that is very wrong.
Hanschel also referencing Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez's statements that there have not been any complaints of marital rape to police.
I listened to the Commissioner of Police when he gave his annual report, and he said that he has not received one single complaint from any wife who complained about her husband raping her.
Over the weekend, prominent evangelist Rex Major lashed out against the idea, saying that women could possibly use it as an excuse for divorce. Hanschel agrees with Major and says while the concept of marital rape is not biblical, rape and abuse within itself is wrong.
If we look at the Bible, there's no mention of marital rape anywhere in the scripture. It's a non-issue. I don't believe that a husband should abuse his wife in any way. Physically, sexually, emotionally, no. And if a man does that, he doesn't deserve to have that woman.
Now, Bishop Hanschel was clear in saying that his views on the matter are his own, not that of the Bahamas College of Bishops, which he chairs. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks a lot, Joshua. Well, a 44-year-old man has admitted his involvement in two large marijuana seizures and pleaded guilty at his court hearing today. Basil Johnson was on bail in connection with the 2021 seizure of 872 pounds of marijuana in Exuma when police allegedly caught him with 1,140 pounds of marijuana in Ragged Island back on May 18th. Johnson pleaded guilty in both cases when he appeared before Magistrate Samuel McKinney. His co-accused in the most recent case, Seth Cartwright, pleaded not guilty. Both men are expected back in court tomorrow when Johnson will be sentenced and Cartwright expected to learn whether he'll be granted bail ahead of his trial. Meanwhile, a suspect wanted for murder is facing more legal troubles after a foiled armed robbery overnight. Police telling Our News the 25-year-old man attempted to rob a woman of her car around 10:45 p.m. on Sea Beach Boulevard just off West Bay Street. Officers from the Cable Beach Division say they were actually on routine patrol when they heard yelling that she was being robbed. Officers chased the armed suspect, who police say ran towards a blue motorcycle where his accomplice was waiting. While in pursuit, police say the assailant pointed the weapon at officers but later surrendered, placing his loaded gun on the ground. We are told the suspect is wanted in connection with a 2021 homicide in southern New Providence. His accomplice managed to escape on the motorcycle, which police say was recovered in bushes just west of the incident. And a 34-year-old man is dead following an early morning traffic fatality, which traffic investigators say happened around 1:20 this morning. Police tell us the victim was driving a 60cc scooter west along Cox Way off East Street when he reportedly lost control and collided with a utility pole. We are told the victim sustained serious head injuries and died on the scene. And now to a tip that led Exuma police to arrest a 32-year-old man from Exuma after he was reportedly found with hundreds of dollars in counterfeit cash. Police say the suspect, who was arrested in the Georgetown area around 7 p.m. on Sunday, had several U.S. $100 bills. Just last week, police warned of an influx in counterfeit cash circulating on another family island, with reports of a spike in fake $50 and $100 notes circulating in Eleuthera. Residents are still being warned to be on the lookout. And now to news on the environment, as Royal Caribbean International has announced public consultation on their planned Paradise Island Beach Club project. Ahead of the meeting planned for this June, more local environmentalists are reacting. Marlena Leonard has this.
A recent joint statement from Bahamian environmentalists Joe Darville and Gail Woon is questioning Royal Caribbean International's adherence to DEP protocols. The cruise line has promised public consultation to happen on June 8th in conjunction with the Bahamas' Department of Environmental Planning and Protection, and said in their announcement of the public consultation that, quote, once the public consultation period has closed, in line with the DEP process, Royal Caribbean will publish a detailed environmental management plan, end quote. But marine biologist and founder of EarthCare, Gail Woon, says,
we can't do our due diligence if they haven't submitted and posted online their current environmental impact assessment.
A month ago, on April 24th, Royal Caribbean International released the 6 focuses and key components of their environmental plan, but Woon says that's simply not enough.
Mouth could say anything. If you're saying you're doing something but not showing in documentary fashion so that other people can see it, it's public relations.
In her joint statement with Darville, the duo say, quote, if Royal Caribbean doesn't share their updated environmental documents soon, DEP should strongly consider postponing the public consultation.
How can we make intelligent questions when we don't know what it is they're proposing? Exactly. DEP can do whatever they want to do, but the law states that the environmental impact assessment should be released at least 15 days before the public consultation. If this documentation isn't provided toot sweet, like right away, that we won't have enough time to review it before June 8th.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
All right, thanks a lot, Marlena. Well, it's regatta time again, this time over on Long Island. We speak with organizers ahead of this year's event in a moment, but for now, we check in with meteorologist Greg Thompson. He's standing by in the Weather Center with your first look at temperatures. And Greg, I know over the last several days, it's been mixed conditions with the regatta. I think it's about a week away. How are we expecting to?
It looks a little promising. We're expecting some showers this week as we have a low pressure system that's expected to develop across Florida. That could spell some showers. But notice those temperatures. Yeah. It is warm.
It's still hot.
Oh, yes. It's 83 right now outside the studio.
And it feels so.
Yeah. So if you have plans for outdoor activities, make sure you drink lots of water because it's going to get hot for the next couple of days. But as I said, it's warm outside. 83 degrees, believe it or not, under mostly clear skies. And it's warm. North-northeast winds at 8 miles per hour, and those winds expected to fall off even more tonight. And your feels-like temperature is at 82. Around the islands right now, it's 83 in Freeport, 81 in Marsh Harbor, Alistown, Bimini, 82, 83 in Great Harbor Key, all low 80s there. 83 also Nichols, San Andros, Governor's Harbor, 81. Central Bahamas, 82 is most locations there, the exception being Arthurstown, Cat Island, and Coopertown, San Salvador. That's a pair of 81s there. And into the southeast Bahamas, 83 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Delectable Bay. We pick up 82 in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, and then look at the rest of the islands in southeast Bahamas. 84s, Abrams Bay, Matthew Town, Inagua, and Providenciales. Looks like we're going to see those summer-like temperatures starting to form across our area. Across us, high pressure ridge, week 1, light winds, lots of sun, and as I said, those temperatures warmed up. But we have some showers and thunderstorms developing across Florida. There's a weak trough right across the central portions of Florida and along the west coast. That's going to slowly sag towards the the east, and that will increase our chances for some showers and isolated thunderstorms. And of course, as I mentioned, the low pressure system expected to develop along a frontal boundary across that area. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
We are just getting started in our news, but when we come back, the government and opposition at odds again, this time over a proposed corporate tax. And it's regatta time again. We are off to Long Island, where organizers are reporting a 45% bump in signups. Plus, coming up in our World News segment, fire officials in Guyana say arsonists set fire to a dormitory, killing 19 children. We've got the latest from investigators when our news returns.
Just when. Oh, it's your thing. Do what you want to do. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. Oh, it's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Shareholders are very happy.
Oh, it's your thing. Do what you want to do.
The government and opposition getting into another back and forth, this time over a green paper on corporate tax. As Berthany McDermott reports tonight, the F&M leader says he isn't a fan, calling it half-baked.
Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard slamming the recently released green paper on corporate tax. Why? Well, he says it simply was poorly thought out. While he says the F&M supports discussions towards a more equitable tax system, he pointed out a few issues with the government's green paper.
We do not want this administration to continue to extract resources from the private sector and residents without the government also indicating adjustments it intends to make as it relates to its own expenditure.
The green paper gives 4 possible new tax structures for businesses that will align with the OECD's tax policies. 136 jurisdictions, including the Bahamas, has agreed to implement a 15% global income corporate tax by 2024. But Pintard feels this will have an adverse impact on Bahamians.
Whenever you are looking at these new tax measures, you are extracting funds from the economy. There will not be a whole lot of people cheering for less money in their pockets and more money in the hands of government.
In a statement, the Office of the Prime Minister called Pintard's comments shocking and disingenuous, as it was a commitment made under the former minister's administration. The statement also said they're disappointed that the leader of the opposition failed to comprehend the purpose of a consultation process.
We have, in the recent statement, signaled to this government that we are concerned about them extracting additional resources from this public when they are not making good choices right now.
Pintard says the F&M doesn't believe the government is committed to accountability and transparency. He also believes the announcement shouldn't have been made through a release.
We also would have loved for the government to have introduced it in the House and have a communication to share their initial thoughts.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks a lot, Berthany. Now to Long Island, where the 54th Long Island Regatta is just now a week away. It's expected to take place in Salt Pond from May 31st through June 3rd. Henderson Burrows is chairman of the Long Island Regatta Committee, and he says with energy still high from sailing being announced a national sport, the regatta has seen a significant boost in interest.
We've had an overwhelming response this year. We have 58 boats registered. And usually, we have like 40. But this year we have 58 boats registered to participate in the regatta. So, and the sailors, they just love to come to Long Island. We've had some boats that have been coming to Long Island since before Well, right after regatta started, I would think, but we have some long-standing followers and participants.
And the chairman giving Our News a sneak peek at the regatta schedule. He says next Wednesday we'll see 3 cup races, a warm-up of sorts for sailors before full competition on Thursday.
The points races start on Thursday, and we start at 8 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we are racing all through the day. So the schedule has been, we're putting everything to print now. So from 8 a.m. straight through until 5 p.m. The official opening is Thursday afternoon, and we have a cultural display by the school children on Friday, where they plant the maypole and do other things. So it's going to be a wonderful weekend.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Democrats and Republicans still unable to reach an agreement on raising the debt ceiling. This as WhatsApp gets set to allow users to edit messages, what the new update will mean for the way users communicate. And today in history, the life and legacy of a decorated nation builder. The details when Our News returns.
First we plan, then we innovate, then we build. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we are committed to quality, to safety, and to service. We know that the road you take is just as important as your final destination. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, it is our job to make sure the road and the ride are as smooth as possible. From striping roads to building them, we are the right choice, the trusted choice, the only choice to help you build your tomorrow.
Best care now.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy could not reach an agreement Monday on how to raise the U.S. government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling with just 10 days before a possible default. The two have vowed to keep talking to avoid a possible sinking of the U.S. economy. Democrats and Republicans have struggled to make a deal as McCarthy pressures the White House to agree to spending cuts in the federal budget that Biden considers extreme. The president pushes new taxes that Republicans have rejected.
We still have some disagreements, but I think we may be able to get where we have to go. We both know we have a significant responsibility.
I mean, here we are, June 1st being the deadline. This is not how government should work. This is not how the Republicans want it to work. We're going to let the teams work tonight, see if we could get progress, but we didn't. Productive, but not progress. Look, I see where the framework can be. You just got to have people who are willing to get to that point. Well, I would assume I'd meet with President Biden every day till we get this done. This is too important.
TikTok on Monday filed a lawsuit challenging the state of Montana's new ban on use of the Chinese-owned app, the first state to bar the popular short video sharing service. Almond Lee reports.
TikTok is suing to block the U.S. state of Montana from banning the company's short video app. The company filed a lawsuit on Monday, arguing the ban, which is set to take effect next January 1st, violates First Amendment rights of the company and users. It said the ban is unconstitutional and is preempted by federal law because it intrudes upon matters of exclusive federal concern and violates the Commerce Clause of the U.S. Constitution. In other words, it alleges that the state has overreached by violating the parts of the Constitution that limit state powers. Montana issued the ban last week, which makes it unlawful for Google and Apple app stores to offer TikTok within the state.
And WhatsApp says it will allow users to edit messages in a move that will see it match a feature offered by competitors like Telegram and Discord. The firm says messages can be edited for up to 15 minutes after being sent. The instant messaging service is part of U.S. technology giant Meta, which also owns Facebook and Instagram. The feature will be made available to WhatsApp's 2 billion users in the coming weeks. Edited messages will also be tagged as edited, so recipients are aware that the content has been changed. However, they will not be shown how the message has been tweaked over time. And now to the region where Brazil has declared a 6-month animal health emergency after several cases of avian flu were recorded in wild birds. 7 cases have been reported in Espírito Santo state, with another discovered in Rio de Janeiro. The emergency declaration makes it easier for the government to now bring in measures to stop the highly infectious H5N1 virus from spreading. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of chicken meat, with annual sales of nearly $10 billion. Authorities say the cases were found far away from Brazil's main areas of production in the south of the country. And to Guyana, the Guyanese Fire Service has confirmed that the fire, which claimed 19 lives at the Medea Secondary School female dormitory and left others injured, was arson. At the time of the fire, 56 children were reportedly at the dorm. Guyana's President Dr. Ifran Ali, at a news briefing, announced 3 days of official national mourning with flags to be flown at half-mast in honor of the victims. He described the day as one of the saddest days in his life as president, as Guyana is in pain.
The initial investigation by the fire service identified that the fire was maliciously set. Also, the point of origin was identified to the southwestern end of the building.
As a family, we will have to bond together. We will have to support each other. Through faith and patience, we will have to persevere. Today, I pray that God grant these souls eternal rest.
Still to come in our news today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was May 23rd, including the 2012 opening of Parliament following the PLP's landslide win at the polls. And then in our news at 7:30, case adjourned. The corruption trial of Long Island MP Adrian Gibson is put off until mid-June. And the shark attack that put a tourist in hospital. Details of the fishing trip that nearly turned deadly when our news returns. Welcome back to our news. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was May 23rd. Take a look.
On
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1901, was the first general meeting of the Imperial Ordered Daughters of the Empire Bahamas. The meeting was held at St. Andrews Hall in Nassau. The IODE is a women's charitable organization based in Canada and provides scholarships, bursaries, book prizes, and other philanthropic and educational projects in various communities. Then in 1924, Preston Hilton Albury was born in Governor's Harbour, Eleuthera. Albury was an administrator, engineer, trade unionist, and politician. During the 1950s, Albury became politically active and joined the Progressive Liberal Party and ran as a candidate for the party in the 1962 election in his native Eleuthera, but was defeated. The following general election in 1967, he won a seat and became a member of Parliament. In January 1971, he became the chairman of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation, a position he held until February 1, 1974. On March 9, 1980, Albury died at the age of 56. The high school in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, was since named in his honor. In 1997, the Bahamas and the People's Republic of China established diplomatic relations days after it had severed ties with Taiwan. Less than 2 months later, the Chinese government opened up an embassy in Nassau. 15 years later on this day in 2012 was the opening of Parliament, following the Progressive Liberal Party's landslide victory at the polls. Then Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes delivered the speech from the throne, which focused on the then Christie administration's first 100-day plan.
Firstly, the need to reduce violence and crime and build a safer Bahamas. Secondly, but in tandem with the fight against crime, is the need to build a stronger economy that generates jobs, deepens and broadens Bahamian ownership, and produces a higher standard of living for all Bahamians.
In 2013 was news of widespread flooding 3 days after a severe weather warning ended. More than 3 inches of rain led to flooded homes in Pinewood Gardens that had residents bailing water for more than 2 days, some of them criticizing NEMA for not springing to action sooner.
Water up there. All of this water. All of this water. The water, you had water up here. All those sockets was underwater.
May 23, 2020, the country's COVID-19 cases hit triple digits, with 3 new positive cases taking the total number to 100. At the time, there were only 11 COVID-19 related deaths and 45 recoveries. And by May 23, 2021, the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 dashboard showed more than 6,000 Bahamians had been fully vaccinated. A total of 50,242 doses had been administered at the time. And finally, in 2020, an autopsy and toxicology reports showed 3 U.S. tourists who were found dead weeks earlier at Sandals Resort in Exuma died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Michael and Robbie Phillips of Tennessee and Florida resident Vincent Chiarelli were all found dead inside neighboring villas at the resort. And to watch that historical recap again and for all of today's top stories, visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Italia Hong with the latest headlines. Italia?
Thanks so much, Ken. Well, the diesel fuel shortage that's put taxi drivers' livelihoods in jeopardy, and the corruption trial of a sitting MP gets pushed back to mid-June. Here are your latest headlines.
A devastating impact. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30. The president of the taxi cab union fears an ongoing issue between government and petroleum retailers. He says cab drivers may be out of a job.
Fuel is essential for them to operate. They cannot operate without fuel.
Also, what was supposed to be a fishing trip turned dangerous for an American visitor after he was bitten by a shark in waters near Grand Bahama. We've got the latest from police. Plus, on the road to 50 tonight, 2 businesses sharing how you can display your national pride.
It's fitting for us to get started to clean up our country, have some national pride.
And later, competing for a cause. Meet the 3 students who were rewarded for their essays on renewable energy. Our Joshua Williams has the full story when Our News Live at 7:30 continues.
Just when Leo was about to buy the
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Welcome to our news and thank you for joining us. I'm Italia Hall. Most gas stations across New Providence have halted the sale of diesel fuel, leaving a small percentage of Bahamians in a jam. The move sending a message to the government from the Petroleum Retailers Association. But as Berthany McDermott tells us, the decision is also impacting taxi drivers who say it may soon put them out of business.
Amid a standoff between government and the Petroleum Retailers Association, Bahamas Taxi Cab Union President Wesley Ferguson says, should this go on, cab drivers may be forced off the road.
By the end of this day, the majority of taxi drivers will be out of fuel. The majority. So the government needs to meet with those people ASAP and come to some amicable agreement.
Some petroleum retailers in New Providence stopped selling diesel on Monday. Association President Raymond Jones told the Nassau Guardian operators are underwater and not making a reasonable profit. He said members will begin taking steps to try to maintain some semblance of profitability to reduce costs and keep their business afloat. Meanwhile, Ferguson says the action is having a devastating impact on the taxi industry.
Maybe 70% of taxis are diesel-oriented vehicles. Fuel is essential for them to operate.
Now, while he admits the impact this could have on taxi drivers, Ferguson says he agrees with the Petroleum Association and stands with them.
Because, yes, I sympathize with taxi drivers, and yes, we understand it's a devastating effect on us, but we need to support each other in these kind of ventures because only who feels it knows it.
Jones said now is the time for the government to come back to the negotiating table. We caught up with Economic Affairs Minister Michael Alquidas ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting, but he said he will address the matter during a press briefing on Thursday. In a notice to its customers, an official from Rubis made customers aware of the action and encouraged them to fuel their vehicles with gas to prevent any disruption should further action take place. It's unclear if gas stations will stop serving gasoline too, but Ferguson says so many are now at a disadvantage.
It disenfranchised and it put the Bahamian public at a disadvantage. So the tourists and the Bahamian public are at a disadvantage as a result of this move by the petroleum organization.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks, Berthany. Well, it's being described as a significant milestone in the development of the city's transportation infrastructure as the Ministry of Works and Utilities takes steps to becoming a smart city. Works Minister Alfred Serra is giving an update today on the ministry's Traffic Management Center, which he says is making substantial progress as the first phase is near completion.
The TMC will not only facilitate means of detection of accidents and/or stalled vehicles that cause traffic jams, but it will also be an important information source to all stakeholders by providing extensive traffic data collected daily through the use of the Mayo vision sensors and camera motion detection using artificial intelligence.
Now, in this initial phase, SARE says 80% of traffic signals have been successfully upgraded with above-ground detection cameras throughout the city.
These cameras are equipped with state-of-the-art technology that will enable us to capture in real time congestion, blockage, or any interference with the smooth flow of traffic. The decision to upgrade our infrastructure was not taken lightly. We recognized that we needed to address congestion, road safety, and cost of maintaining outdated systems which were draining the scarce resources of the country.
Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson has adjourned the Adrian Gibson corruption trial until June 19th. The trial was expected to resume today. However, the Court of Appeal issued a temporary stay of the proceedings on Monday. The matter won't be able to proceed until the Superior Court rules on whether Justice Grant Thompson was right when she ruled that Gibson's right to a fair trial had not been breached. Gibson had argued that he would be prejudiced in his defense if the court allowed his former fiancée, Alexandria Mackey, to testify by video link from Florida. He also argued that the prosecution had failed to disclose material that could be beneficial to his defense. The Court of Appeal will hear the matter on June 13. Gibson is accused of getting $1.1 million in kickbacks from contracts awarded by the Water and Sewage Corporation while he serves as its executive chairman from 2018 through 2021. Gibson is charged along with 5 others. A double shooting has landed 2 men in hospital, and now police need your help finding the gunmen involved in the incident. The shooting reportedly occurred shortly after 4:30 p.m. on Monday. Police say the victim was at a family member's home on Watland Street when 2 masked men in a silver Toyota Passo approached and opened fire, hitting the victim several times about the body. The second victim, who walking in the area, was also shot in the left arm and leg. Both victims were transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital in a private vehicle. Their condition is currently listed as stable. Well, still on the radar tonight, a shark attack in waters near Grand Bahama, putting a tourist in hospital following what was supposed to be a fun-filled fishing trip. We'll get to that in less than 5 minutes, but we had some nice weather today in the capital, but there may be some rain this week. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center live with the first check on weather. Greg?
Yeah, warm temperatures today, warm temperatures tomorrow. Look like it's going to be warm for the rest of the week. But yeah, we do expect some showers in the forecast as a low pressure system is expected to develop across Florida. We'll show that in a minute. But it's 83 outside our studios under mostly clear skies, and we are calling it warm. Your winds out of the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature is at 82. High pressure, very weak one across the islands, generating some very blue skies, dry conditions, and those warm temperatures. Showers and thunderstorms popping up across Florida, some of that drifting into the northwest Bahamas. There's a front to the north across northern Florida, sagging into central Florida. Low pressure is expected to develop, and we could see some showers across the northwest Bahamas once that system gets near us through the remainder of the week. That's your quick check on weather conditions. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, new upgrades soon to come within the healthcare sector. We've got the announcement by the Health and Wellness Minister at the World Health Assembly. Also, as the road to 50 continues, have you thought about ways to display your Bahamian pride? Tonight, several businesses are sharing ideas. And 3 students receiving a big award after participating in an essay competition focused on renewable energy. That's all coming up when our news returns.
A fishing trip for an American visitor taking a dangerous turn on Sunday after he was bitten by a baby shark. Police say the incident occurred around 1 p.m. on Sunday in waters near Sandy Key off Grand Bahama. The injuries are listed as serious but not fatal, and the victim was treated and discharged from hospital. Now, shark attacks are rare but not unheard of. Last September, a U.S. cruise ship passenger was killed by a shark while snorkeling in waters off New Providence. The 58-year-old woman from Pennsylvania was on an excursion near Green Key. While the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, bringing remarks at the 76th opening session of the World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. Dr. Darville noting that major upgrades to more than 50 clinics across the country are underway and plans are being finalized to construct 2 new state-of-the-art hospitals.
We are also making legislative changes to improve the delivery of healthcare services to our complex ecosystem. We also will repeal and replace the current National Health Insurance Act to facilitate improvements in the delivery of sustainable, universal primary healthcare services and more of the second phase of universal health coverage, which is catastrophic healthcare. Under the guidance of WHO, we also brought into force a new mental health legislation that is finally modernizing pediatric and adult mental health care services across the country.
The health minister admitting that while the Bahamas has made significant progress in addressing the devastation left behind by Hurricane Dorian, there's still a lot more work to be done.
The mental, social, and economic fallout left behind in the wake of the devastating effects of climate change reinforces my country's commitment to WHO's global agenda to promote economic recovery and revitalization of healthcare service delivery through universal health coverage. Given the high socioeconomic costs associated with non-communicable diseases, my country recently launched a well-funded wellness unit to reach communities and implement proven behavioral lifestyle modification programs that harvest better short and long-term outcomes.
All right, while church leaders are taking the fight against crime to the inner city communities, their first stop, the Fox Hill community. The effort is being led by Bishop Stanley Johnson, who says meeting the needs of residents can help to curb violence.
The objective is to touch families with food and clothing in an aggressive, massive way. And by doing that, we believe that it will cause a ripple effect, that it will touch the hearts of some of the young men who may be involved in illegal activities to come to the services organized, and that will be done by giving out food coupons and to just not hear the gospel, but to experience the love of Christ and the love of the church.
And Ferguson says walkabouts and outreach efforts will be specific to each community.
I speak metaphorically, in World War II, the Battle of Normandy, they called it D-Day. And so we're using that date, we're calling it D-Day. It is guerrilla warfare because a lot of spiritual emphasis that will be done strategically behind the scene in terms of fasting and praying to move in and dismantle the enemy and to touch hearts with the gospel spiritually and physically.
Team up to clean up. That's the message one Bahamian is pushing this summer, and she's encouraging others to show their national pride by joining the effort. Cheryl Cambridge, CEO of Cheryl Bahamas Taxi and Tour, says working in the tourism industry, she often hears many complaints from visitors about the appearance of the city. It's one of the reasons they decided to clean up New Providence throughout the month of June ahead of the 50th independence celebrations.
The cleanup campaign started in June, where we all, as Bahamians, can team up to clean up. And remember our coat of arms, forward, up, and together. I cannot do it by myself. I need the whole entire Bahamas to help with this cleanup campaign, the schools, the private sectors, all of the youth groups, the political groups. It's our country, not just I alone. It is our country, so let us all get together, team up to clean up our beautiful country.
While local businesses like John Watling's Distillery also supporting the Team Up to Clean Up campaign, managing partner at the distillery, Pepin Agarmasilla, says the goal is to ensure that when tourists visit our shores, they're met with a positive, lasting impression.
As soon as a tourist comes to downtown Nassau, it's not a matter of our property being clean and everything else being dirty. It's a matter that the tourist takes away their entire experience when they come to Nassau. So it's very, very important that, we can do a good job here. Other people certainly do good jobs at their locations. But if the ride too is dirty and people are seeing garbage thrown all over, etc., it hurts the tourism product. It hurts the Bahamas. And again, we want to be able to live in a place that is free from
When
garbage.
our news comes back from the break, renewable energy was the focus of an essay competition by a local company. Find out which 3 students came out victorious. Our Joshua Williams speaks with the winners. Hot temperatures across the island today as the official start of summer is only a few weeks away. Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather right after this quick break. Stay with us. This is Our News. Welcome back. Haitian nationals living in the Bahamas are set to celebrate their culture this weekend. The annual cultural festival will be held this Saturday at the Thomas A. Robinson Fairgrounds, featuring international artists such as Kenny Haiti. Chairwoman for the Haitian Cultural Festival, Tetley Murphy, explains what attendees can expect.
For wholesome family outing with live theatrical stage performances, comedy skits, dance displays, Creole musical performances, live bands, kiddie corner, creative arts, also delicious food that I cannot wait to have.
Now, the festival comes at a time when illegal migration is a major concern. Murphy sends a clear message.
We do not support any kind of illegal migrant. Let me start by saying that. We in the community do not support it. So we're doing this and we're inviting everyone to come out who have status here, to come out and participate and eat the good food. Let's laugh and let's try live a little. I want y'all to do things in respect, in order. Our Bahamian flag must be to the right and the Haitian flag is to the left. Do not forget that.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
The Bahamas Rugby Football Federation crowned a new champion over the weekend. Here's Tej Adderley with a check on sports. Tej?
The Bahamas Capital Union Bank Rugby Championships were held Saturday afternoon at the Winton Rugby Pitch in New Providence. Freeport RFC out of Grand Bahama made a heroic stand before ultimately falling to a combined Bailu Buccaneers team 48-26. Rugby's returning to full swing after a break for COVID. Look for next season to be even more exciting and action-packed. The 2023 Major League Baseball season did not start off well for Anton Richardson and the San Francisco Giants. The only Bahamian to ever coach in Major League Baseball, and his team got off to a less than stellar 17-23 start to begin the season. But everything changed last week when the team got a 6-3 win over the Phillies. The team has been 6-1 ever since, sweeping the Phils and taking 2 of 3 from the Marlins, and winning last night against the Minnesota Twins. The Giants are currently on an extended Midwest road trip where they'll also play a series against the Milwaukee Brewers before returning to the Bay. Currently sitting at a 23-24 record, don't be surprised if they head back to the West Coast with the winning record. For Our Sports, I'm Tej Adderley.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, 3 students securing top titles in an essay competition that highlights the importance of renewable energy. The trio sharing their thoughts on the topic with our Joshua Williams. And Greg is back with your extended weather forecast. That's all coming up when Our News returns.
Welcome back to Our News. Warm weather around the islands as the start of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season is a little over a week away. Greg is back in the Weather Center live with your extended weather forecast. Greg, the hurricane season is just a little over a week away, and now is the time for preparation, correct?
Yep, very true. As a matter of fact, I just was reading a post on my Facebook page. The National Hurricane Center actually did track a system early in January. It wasn't a hurricane, but a subtropical kind of a system. So it was an early start to the season, and we have a low pressure system that's to the east of us, the National Hurricane Center not watching that, but that was also being monitored. So yeah, this is the time to get ready for the hurricane season. June 1st begins it officially, and that's next week. And then of course it ends on November 30th, peak of the season happening around September. So preparation is the name of the game. We are encouraging you to do so as we speak. Locally, though, we have a ridge of high pressure, very weak one, dry air mass moving out of the Gulf of Mexico across our area, and that provided us with a lot of sunshine, clear skies, and very warm temperatures. I think we approached the 90-degree mark, and those feels-like temperatures were in the 90s as well. There's a frontal system to the north of us across Florida that's actually going to sag towards the south, should get near central Florida, and we expect a low-pressure system to develop along that frontal boundary across Florida, very broad one, and that will pump in some moisture across our area from the south to southwest over the next couple of days. So we're looking for an increase in some showers and some thunderstorm activity across the area. That low-pressure system that I was talking about out there in the open Atlantic, most of the activity is pulling well to the north, attaching itself to a frontal boundary, and will continue to pull away from us. But of course, hurricane season, get ready. Future forecast showing us that shower and thunderstorm activity really across Florida. Just gonna basically slide across the area through tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, and some of those could be strong across the Grand Bahama, the Bimini area. So I'll be asking you guys up there to continue to watch that. And then by Thursday, it really gets active. Lots of showers and thunderstorms spreading across the northwest. Some of that could make it into the central Bahamas as well. So we're looking for a semi-wet week for the latter part of the week. And into the weekend, of course, light winds will continue to provide some very nice boating conditions outside of those showers and thunderstorms. Boating for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Winds are going to be variable at 5 to 10 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. High tide will be at 11:35 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, increase in showers with that broad low pressure system developing across Florida. Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Thursday, Friday, some clearing by the weekend, and then by early next week we expect showers back in the forecast, but those temperatures are going to be approaching the 90-degree mark, so it's going to get hot out there. We're asking you, if you're doing outdoor activities, to limit that and make sure you drink lots of liquids.
Lots of rain, Greg. I'm not washing my car.
You better tell that again, dear.
Okay. Thanks so much, Greg. Well, a local energy company teaming up with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and the Ministry of Education for an environmental essay competition. Our Joshua Williams spoke with the winners today.
3 students were awarded today for their efforts in the Inti Corporation Limited's environmental essay competition. The focus, how renewable and sustainable energy can significantly impact climate change in the Bahamas. On hand for the presentations were Environment and Natural Resources Minister Vaughn Miller and State Minister for Education Zane Lightbourne. Both Miller and Lightbourne offering their praise to the students.
I'm here just really to affirm the persons and to affirm this event and to let them know that it's not just, a lot of times we say things, but we really don't mean it, and we do things just for show or for fashion. This is not the case.
And I think that through competition and through essay, it's also a research opportunity for our young people and for them to become ambassadors for us as a country, for our people, our sustainability, to become a voice for our little country.
We also spoke to the winners.
I entered the competition with the feeling that I wasn't going to win. I wasn't expecting me to win, but I was excited to enter into the competition and to see what is in store.
I was a bit shocked and relieved once I saw the topic, because I had a moment to discuss with the Governor General a very similar topic. So when I saw the topic, I just was like, I have to enter the competition.
That topic, according to the newly crowned Environmental Youth Ambassador Michaela Kerr, is something that students can lead discussions on.
I feel like the topic is very important for young people to learn, because I feel like a lot of people only pay attention to the adults and they're like, okay, let's listen to what the adults say. They're the more knowledgeable ones. They went to college for it, they studied for it, and I'm like, the children are the ones that are going to be here if something happens. So I think it's very important for us youth to know about the topic and really to talk amongst ourselves and really make action.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, and congrats to those winners. Thank Josh. And to see that story again, you can visit ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Italia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.